Hey there, and thanks for tuning in to yet another episode of NetCLIX and Chill. This is episode number 7. We're going to be talking about a little more of the Mighty Thor, some more things that have been leaked, as well as the new Undead set that is also being leaked at the moment. Looks like they're going to be released at about the same time, that and the Mighty Thor. And then we're going to be talking about an event that we played at today at our local Coliseum of Comics. That is, what is today? It's August 19th.
Yep, Saturday, August 19th.
That's right. My name is Jimmy Prescott.
And I'm Daniel Smith.
Alright, you want to go ahead and roll us off?
Alrighty, well, first things first, a couple podcasts ago, Jimmy and I had a disagreement about when the release date for Mighty Thor was. It chokes me up to say it, but Jimmy was right, as he showed in the YouTube video by constantly referencing the actual WizKids webpage. But we have gotten an official release date for the rules. Not necessarily for the Mighty Thor set, but for the rules.
I think it's the whole set.
Well, they're digitally releasing the rules.
Oh, okay.
So it's going to be this Monday, the 21st, we're getting the rules released digitally. So that'll be within 2 days. So you better post this before Monday or else it'll...
We're just going to be late.
Yeah, and this is useless. So we are getting the rules digitally released then, and Mighty Thor... anytime between now and probably next week. And I'm thinking next Friday will be the release date for the set.
HC Realms has it listed as August 30th, and they're also listing Undead as released on the same day. So August 30th is what they're saying, and then the 21st, the rules, and then I had heard potentially the set itself. So it would be weird for them to release it on a Monday. Don't know if they'd normally do that, but...
Yeah. So, either which way... Jimmy wins, and we had a comment, someone was letting us know that it was confirmed, so thanks for that comment, I appreciate it. We've gotten some Colossals, a couple more Colossals shown, Surtur and Mangog. They've got cool Colossal retaliations. We're not going to go too much into them because, like, Carnage was super awesome, happily talk about him all day long. These other guys, they're Colossals, they do things.
It's just another one of those situations where they're trying to sell super boosters. So we're getting, like, we have another Surtur, and of course Surtur has been printed before, and not super interesting. I wouldn't really say he's super interesting again this time, especially since he has a trait that says that opposing characters with Incapacitate get +1 damage when attacking him because he's susceptible to cold stuff. I hate it whenever they trait in weaknesses to someone. I would hope that it is very clearly shown in their points calculation. But you have characters like Venom and stuff where it's like, oh, if you have Psychic Blast or Pulse Wave or anything like that.
Then you get the action token. Yeah, it's the limited edition Venom, right? It was like super cool, a really good piece, but it's just one of those random like...
Well, it totally makes sense though.
Yeah, but...
Because it's like, oh yeah, he's sensitive to sonic sounds and all that kind of stuff, yeah.
But even still, like, it's lame.
Yeah. And the thing is, too, if you're trying to be competitive, odds are you're not going to be running across a bunch of characters with those powers, so, you know, it's kind of hit or miss.
Psychic Blast you'll see all day long.
That's true.
And pick a power, if I see you have
I don't even know if it's Psychic Blast, though. It might be like, okay, an Energy Explosion.
Yeah, Psychic Blast, Energy Explosion, which are pretty common, especially Psychic Blast.
Energy Explosion's pretty common, yeah.
And then, for this guy, Incapacitate, like, we just got Elijah Snow, like...
Incapacitate's already pretty common too, especially on lower point figures. So like on those characters who wouldn't usually be able to break that shell of good defense abilities, you're just gonna start getting poked through damage for cheap. So I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mangog looks pretty cool though. His colossal retaliation ability I really like.
Yeah, it deals. So he targets all characters. Or a character, and then all characters within 3 squares of that character. And hit characters are dealt 4 damage, then he gets to do it again, targeting all characters within 2 squares of a target character, and they're dealt 3 damage if they're hit. So like he can deal 7 damage to multiple pieces with like Colossal Retaliation, which is pretty cool. Surtur's is...
It's similar, just without the second attack. He basically attacks somebody, does some penetrating or something.
He deals 3 damage to the hit character, and then all characters, I think within a space or within 2 spaces, take 1 penetrating. And he has an ability on his Colossal Retaliation click. If you're a single target of one of his attacks, you can't use defense powers. So when he does his Colossal Retaliation, you cannot use your defense powers to defend from the 3 damage, so you'll more than likely take 3, and then everyone adjacent takes 1 penetrating.
And you can't use defensive powers for the rest of the turn, like
No, I
Green Arrow?
I believe it's just when he's targeted. If it was for the rest of the turn, then he would be amazing. But
Yeah,
I believe
that's what
it's
I
just for the attack.
Okay.
We'll double check that. Maybe Jimmy will post it.
Right here maybe?
Yeah, right here.
Yeah.
Cover the beard. You'll offend people if you cover the beard. 2 figures we do want to talk about. These are more for Jimmy than for me because he likes them.
They just came out. I think they look cool. It's Icarus and Circe. So, Icarus is a rare. He is actually rare number 45 in the set. And he has 150 points, has the Power Cosmic ability, a 6 range, flight. He's a more close combat affiliated piece, at least in the beginning. He's got charge with a 10 movement. Again, he has flight, 11 attack, 4 damage, 18 defense with impervious. He's got a trait called Channel Cosmic Energy. As a reaction, until your next turn, Icarus can't use the Power Cosmic team ability, but he can use Perplex and Willpower. When he uses Perplex and targets himself, modify value by +2 instead. So he kind of becomes a support-ish character whenever he's already pretty solid as an attacker for 150 points.
Yeah, you can give it Power Cosmic, just the immunity to outwit, because he does gain willpower, correct?
Yes.
So you can go up to a 13 attack or a 6 damage. This also kind of couples nicely with Al Jordan, who also has a +2 perplex. So, I mean, there's things it can do.
Yeah, and then his attack power, which he has on his first 3 clicks, is Manipulate Gravitons. He has Super Strength and Telekinesis. The good thing about this is he has charge, and then he has sidestep, so he has the ability to move and get into close combat. But he's not one of those characters who has like hypersonic that's not going to be able to be used with super strength. You're still seeing characters like that come out, and it's just like, why? Yeah, because it's like those powers aren't going to work together at all anymore. So seeing super strength with an actual compatible power is nice. I don't know. It means a little more to me now than it would have 3 sets ago. And then his defensive power, which he has for his last 2 clicks, is Complete Molecular Control. He has Regeneration and Toughness. So as he goes through the dial, he has Impervious for his first 3, and then Invincibility for his middle 2, and then those last 2 he has that Regeneration, Toughness, Special Power. For his first 4 clicks on his damage, he has the Discipline of Leadership, another white power. He has Leadership. When he uses it and succeeds, you may instead remove all action tokens from all adjacent friendly characters with the Eternal keyword. So, what I really like about this character is it seems like he is good in close combat. He's somebody you're going to want to try to get up in their face. He's got good defense values with good defense powers. He starts with an 18 defense, and it kind of wiggles around from 18 to finally 16 at the very end, but most of the time it's 16 to 17 with Impervious or Invincibility, and you can't outwit that because of Power Cosmic unless he turns on that special power to use Perplex. But he's got Perplex, and then he also has Telekinesis. Now he also has Leadership. So, and a super awesome form of leadership too if you are running a theme team of the Eternals. So for 150 points, I feel like a lot of people will look at this character and say, he's not that great. He really doesn't move that fast. He's only got 6 range, and he's got 4 damage. There are people that are better, especially for 150 points. But I just love how he's a scary close combat piece who also has a lot of support to offer a team that is built with his keywords in mind.
Yeah, I see the appeal. I do like the telekinesis on anyone. Telekinesis is a great power. But having Impervious up top dial, you're vulnerable to Psychic Blast.
Yeah.
Having the inability to be outwitted with Invincible top dial, I would be way higher on this piece. But since it's Impervious first, like Psychic Blast for 4, I knock you to your last click of Invincible. If I hit you for 5 damage with Psychic Blast, you go right past it.
Yeah.
Like, you're paying for points for a power you might never get to use, and at least in competitive play, your primary attacker with Psychic Blast is dealing a minimum of 4, usually 5 to 6.
Yeah. I wouldn't expect this guy to be like a meta breaker, a meta type character.
Yeah.
I just really appreciate that it seems like they're making very solid, usable figures in this set. Most of the ones that they've put out so far that we've talked about. I just feel like there are so many sets that come out that have so few cool, usable characters, and it's just nice to see guys like this coming out consistently as this set comes closer.
Yeah, I agree that it is nice that we're getting a lineup of pieces that are usable instead of getting 4 or 5 and the rest is just garbage. Leave it in the bucket. So far it's looking pretty good.
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk about Circe, however you want to say it. She is a super rare, number 57 from the Mighty Thor. She also has Power Cosmic. She has 7 range. She's 150 points as well. She also has the Eternal keyword. She has 10 speed flight, 11 attack, standard attack, 17 defense, no indomitable because she's got Power Cosmic, 3 damage shape change up top. She also has a Channel Cosmic Energy trait, so she gets the Willpower Perplex. I like hers better because she has Stealth top dial, so she still has a way to be immune to Outwit. Whereas when Icarus pops his, then you can outwit him all day long. This one you have to ignore Hindering and have Outwit, which some characters do, Nick Fury being the biggest one, but safer at least. She does give up damage, but gains some, I don't want to say utility, maybe a little bit of durability. So she has another trait, the discipline of transubstantiation. I almost got through that, but I kind of messed up a little bit in the middle. She can use Barrier. She may use it as a free action, and again we're paraphrasing because the rules, the powers are written more succinctly. They're not full sentences anymore, so we're paraphrasing a little bit so that it sounds right to say it. So she may use Barrier as a free action, but only to place 2 blocking terrain markers that do not have to be adjacent to each other, and both must be within 10 squares in line of fire. So that is some nice utility, just 2 free barrier markers every turn forever. We have the 35-point Green Lantern super rare from Joker's Wild that gives you 1 barrier token for free. Obviously he's a lot cheaper, but that power has been used quite a lot, so it's always nice to have free barrier. Her speed power is white on her first 2 clicks, and that is still playing from the sidelines. She may use Stealth and Mind Control. When she uses Mind Control, she has 2 targets instead of 1, and modifies her attack by +1 if she only targets a single character. She has an 11 attack top dial, so that puts her to a 12 attack if she's targeting 1 character. And then she can perplex her attack to a 14 from there. So she can be pretty lethal with that Mind Control, but Mind Control is also getting nerfed in the new rules, so it's alright. And then her last 2 clicks, she also has the complete molecular control of regeneration and toughness. She only has 6 clicks. She does not have Impervious, but she has Shape Change and Invulnerability. I like that better against Flurry, just because if you make the Shape Change roll, then you're completely safe. But, and I guess against Psychic Blast, it's a nice combination to have. Then her middle 2 clicks, she gets Probability Control, Precision Strike, and Sidestep with Invulnerability. Then the last 2 clicks, we have Phasing Teleport with a 10 speed, Precision Strike still with a 10 attack, the Toughness, Regeneration, and then Outwit. So she gets a little bit of utility, but for 150 points, you're looking at a 3 damage across the whole dial, but it's just still 3 damage, and 11 and 10 attacks the whole way. So again, she's very alright. I wouldn't say she's great by any means, but she is good. I could see you using her and doing well, especially with the flexibility from her special perplex power on turns that she needs it. So we'll see what happens. Again, we need to play the pieces before we can give our final judgment. I'm not as excited about them as I am for some of the other pieces, but I mean, if I pull her as a super rare, I won't complain too much. I'll probably trade it to Jimmy, but it'll still be cool to see.
I do want to point out, though, that her name is spelled S-E-R-S-I as Circe, but if you look at the real name section on HC Realms, it's spelled C-I-R-C-E, which is the more traditional way. I'm wondering why. I don't know if that has some type of comic book relevance, but like, it's pronounced the same, just spelled slightly differently. It's like hipster Circe.
One thing to point out is so far these are the only 2 Eternal pieces from the Mighty Thor. We haven't had a lot of the pieces spoiled yet, so I'm sure there will be more, but they're also the only 2 pieces in Modern. The next closest set that has Eternals in it is Avengers Assemble. They have the Forgotten one and then another Circe, so it's been a while.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for a modern theme team with Eternals to take advantage of Icarus's power, hopefully you get more from the Mighty Thor.
Are we going to be moving into the Undead set now?
Yeah, did you have anything else you want to talk about with the Mighty Thor before we do? We've talked about actually most of the pieces that have been shown.
Yeah, and it looks like so far out of the whole set, we have 22 pieces revealed. Usually there are at least, well, there's got to be at least twice that. Hold on.
Well,
because we have 45 as a rare. We've got numbers going into 62. So we've got about a third of a set, and we've got about a week left before it's supposed to be released. So I guess that's exciting. They've already got a lot of cool ones revealed. There's got to be a lot in there that we just haven't even seen yet.
Yeah.
But coming out right alongside the Mighty Thor, as far as we're expecting, is the Undead set. The Undead set is going to be a gravity feed with 19 characters based on what they've got here. And then 10 of those characters have been revealed so far, including some generic characters like zombies and skeletons. And then you've got some classic characters like Dr. Jekyll, Frankenstein, Dr. Frankenstein, and then Death.
I just want to say my favorite character so far, Zombie Abraham Lincoln.
And he's actually really good too.
Like, how cool is that? We're
Yeah.
getting freaking Abraham freaking Lincoln. And he has a 7 years ago power. Like,
and let's go ahead and highlight that because
do we want to just dive on in?
Yes.
Let's dive on in.
I love the monster keyword because I love Lord Dreg. We've talked about that before, and he gets to buff everyone on his team with the monster keyword. So probably my most common theme team now is using that keyword.
You see that they released the sculpt for Zombie Abraham Lincoln, but that is pretty cool.
He is pretty cool. So
do I get to talk about him, or are you going to?
My God, Dan, taking all my wonderful talking points.
You didn't even know about this set until I said, "Hey, Jimmy, there's also an Undead set."
You know, that was about a week and a half ago. That's old news.
But you know what?
Let me explain him as a part of my team. You can explain the extension of him. So
no, I'm just going to talk about Frankenstein's monster.
Okay.
Talk about him.
So Abraham Lincoln has 3 different point values you can play him at. You can play him at his lowest point value, 40. His second point value is 60. You get 2 more clicks. Third version is 150 points. At that, he's real slow.
But
his
awesome.
movement goes from a 5 to a 3 over the course of 10 clicks for 150 points. So what I would like to do with this set, and just by the way, I have ordered a gravity feed set of these guys, so we'll be doing an opening of the set once it comes out as well.
Yeah.
We have also reserved a case of the Mighty Thor.
Yep.
So we'll open 2 bricks on the channel as well.
You're going to get the Chase and Carnage in the same brick,
I hope so.
and I'm going to get like the worst pieces, and I'll cry a little bit.
Yeah. So this team that I was wanting to make is a monster themed team, of course, and it uses 2 of the characters from this set, which we will highlight. So it has a 600 and a 500 point option because one of the characters is 100 points. It uses Lord Dreg, who is able to increase the combat values of any monsters within 4 spaces. All of them, using Perplex, as long as it's not their damage that's being changed. And then he creates the Robug tokens, which have Incapacitate. That works great with Spider Carnage, a 2017 convention exclusive, currently $80, but I'm hoping that they're going to be selling them at the PAX Unplugged event in Philadelphia, which I will be going to in November, November 17th, and that will also be on the channel, so tune in for that.
And if you happen to be going to that, look for the t-shirt, look for this beautiful face, come say hi. Jimmy will be recording, so you might end up on the channel.
Yeah.
If you care that much.
If you're going all the way to Philadelphia, so,
yeah.
you know, or maybe you're already there, who knows.
Yeah.
But Spider Carnage, I'm hoping he's going to be there, because right now he's like $80. I don't know if he's a purchasable convention exclusive, or if you have to win him in like a Battle Royale event or something, but he's got the monster theme team.
Let me jump in again.
Go ahead.
What's been happening with some of these convention exclusives is they kind of trickle out, and then they have different release dates throughout the year. So the Doomsday limited edition figure, he's kind of been available, but I think Origins is going on this week, next week. They will actually be starting to sell Doomsday, so his price is going to drop because he's been sitting around $100. So his price is going to drop because he's going to become more available. I haven't checked on Spider Carnage yet, but I'm imagining that he's in a similar situation. Just like the Spirit of Vengeance Red Hulk was selling on eBay for $150, and then he was more widely released, and now he's, I think, $15 to buy at an event or $25 on eBay. So like the market for these convention exclusives is all over the place. So yeah, just a little bit of background on how this is working.
Yeah.
So.
But Spider Carnage, he starts with 3 clicks of charge. He's got Blades, Claws, Fangs through his entire dial with an 11 or 10 attack until he finally hits his last click, where he gets a 9 attack. He has Exploit Weakness with a 17 defense with close combat reflexes. So obviously your whole goal is just to get in there and start beating the crap out of somebody. His last 4 clicks, he has Flurry instead of Charge, and he also has a white damage power called I Have to Fight Its Control. When he attacks, you may choose that he deals penetrating damage this turn and increases damage dealt by 1. If you do any KOs an opposing character this turn, after actions resolve, deal him 1 additional damage. So he takes damage because he feels bad about killing people. And then the great part about this is he has the slash token, which other things have that as well recently. And whenever he hits an opposing character and they take damage from one of his close attacks, after actions resolve, you may attach the slash marker to that character, removing it from anywhere else. When that character with the slash marker is given an action token, deal 1 penetrating damage. When that character heals or clears action tokens, remove the slash token. So the reason this is great is because our Robugs, created by Dreg, have Incapacitate. Usually that isn't super great. So of course you can incapacitate them, give them tokens. If they already have 2 tokens, you deal 1 penetrating damage instead. Now if you hit them with Spider Carnage, give them the slash token, and then you start hitting them with the Robugs. Every time they hit them, they get an action token, and also they just gained an action token with a slash token, so they take 1 penetrating as well.
Let me read that. Is that really how that works?
Yeah, so it says anytime he takes an action token. And then the other part that is fantastic is now bringing in Zombie Abraham Lincoln at 40 points. He has an ability called 4 and 7 years ago. It says that anytime someone with a monster keyword hits someone on the opposing team, if they rolled a 4, and actually they don't even have to hit anybody. Let's read this specifically.
Okay, sorry. Before you start reading that, I did just confirm the Spider Carnage, and that is stupid.
Yeah. And honestly, that is the slash token in general. It's been that way for a while. Nobody uses it like that.
Well, because Incapacitate is such a meh power. Like, it's nice to have, but it's not really great. But I did not realize it literally states when it is given an action token, it doesn't care about the source. Incapacitate, here's your action token, take a click. Here's an action token, take a click. You have 2 action tokens, incapacitate, take a click.
What the heck? It's just penetrating damage. So you could be hitting those heavy dudes, and you're just beating them to death. Now, 4 and 7 years ago makes this even better, because once per attack, when a friendly character attacks, a character's attack roll is 4 or 7. Choose after resolutions. Remove an action token from the attacker, or after resolutions, give the target an action token. That means that everybody on your team effectively has the effects of Incapacitate alongside their normal damage on attack. If they roll a 4, which even if it misses, you still give the person an attack. Yep, because it just says when the friendly character's attack roll result is a 4 or 7. Doesn't matter if you hit or not. So you can give the opposing character an action token.
A Robug rolls a 7, have 2 action tokens, 1 and then the other. So you take a click from the slash marker, then you take the second one that might push you, and then you take another click. Like
so you have this guy has 40 points. I don't know if this would be the best use of your points, but I just love this energy on a monster theme team. This guy can just sit in your starting zone and do this crap. So you're basically just run up with Spider Carnage, beat him in the face, give him slash tokens. You're already doing a bunch of damage, but now you have all the other characters who are using Incapacitate or this ability to just lock down that guy that you're just hammering.
Yeah.
So.
One thing you did not mention about Spider Carnage, he also has the Alien Symbiote trait, which every Venom except for Venom Pool has in Modern, and that is Plasticity and Shape Change, and they automatically break away.
Yeah.
So
they're just like ultimate tie-up.
Yeah. So Spider Carnage has Super Senses and Shape Change forever. Well, no, does he start with combat? He starts with combat reflexes, but he still has Shape Change for some defensive stuff going on. Plasticity with Blaze Claw's Fangs, getting knocked into Flurry. I know how to talk. Anyways, it's a cool, really cool. And he's how many points? 125.
Who?
Spider Carnage?
He is 100 points.
For 100 points, that Spider Carnage is cool. I really like the Robugs, throwing on the tokens. Plus, with the amount of characters in this team, you're attacking a lot, so rolling a 4 or 7 does seem pretty likely.
Yeah. And then one other character that's in here as well, just thrown in because he's great with people with the monster keyword, is Dr. Frankenstein. He is 30 points. He has support, and then he can use support as a free action if it's targeting a friendly character with a monster keyword, and it adds 1 to the d6 result whenever you're supporting somebody with a monster keyword.
Which I think support might be getting changed, like regeneration. I'm not sure. So we'll see exactly how much that ends up doing. It could be good or it could be really good. I'm not sure. But
yeah. But that support's a trait. And then his damage power is also a white damage power, Mad Scientist. He can use Perplex, but only to target characters with the monster keyword. And then if his target is named the Frankenstein monster, Dr. Frankenstein can modify a combat value by +2 instead of, or -2 instead. So he could,
if you're fighting an enemy or Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah.
All right, which we will smoothly transition into Frankenstein's monster. He is one of the 2 chases from this set. He is a pretty cool piece. He's 60 points. Keep that in mind as I'm talking about him, because his dial, when you look at it, it seems kind of okay, but usually this type of dial would be about 100 points. So when you just remember that he's actually only 60, you realize just how much you're getting out of it. So top dial, he has a 7-speed charge, well, charge with a 7-speed. He has 11 attack, super strength, 18 defense, invulnerability, 3 damage, battle fury with indomitable. So already that top click is pretty solid. You can deal up to 5 damage, ignoring shape change, which as you know, I hate shape change, so that's always great. Now, one of his 2 traits, his first trait is literally ERG. It's RRRRRGHH. That's how it's spelled. And what it does is, at the beginning of your turn, roll a d6. On a 4 through 6, Frankenstein's monster may immediately make a close attack. It doesn't say anything about giving him an action token. It's not an action. You just attack. So that's pretty cool. He also has a power called My Creator. Friendly characters, it's a trait. Friendly characters with the scientist keyword can use support to target Frankenstein's monster. When a character with a scientist keyword targets him, his defense value is 14 for that action. If that character is named Dr. Frankenstein, he can use support even if he or Frankenstein's monster are adjacent to an opposing character. He has 6 clicks. You can have a scientist, like a 10-point scientist generic or something, just walking around. If it has a 10 attack, he goes to a 14 defense. You need 4s to support him. And he's 60 points. He gets to attack for free 50% of the time once you get him in base to base for 60 points. He has a 5 damage potential with charge for 60 points. Like, he is surprisingly awesome for 60 points. I really like it. And after he gets charged, after he runs out of charge, he goes to sidestep. Sidestep is always a good power to have. You can sidestep back to your scientist to get supported. It's mobility. It's just a good power to have. So I really like this piece. I'm hoping that Jimmy pulls it so I can trade him for it. The chase I'm going to get from the Mighty Thor, I'll trade to Jimmy for this Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah, he is a chase. He also, his dial looks very classic because he goes from an 11 attack to an 8 attack, 15 defense, and 2 damage with toughness and a 4 speed. So, like, he really looks like one of those characters you'd have seen way back when. Although his stats are a little bit higher, they don't degrade as quickly, and, it's a 15 defense instead of a 12 defense.
And he's costed out a little bit better. He's not a 120-point piece, he's a 60-point piece.
Yeah. But, I think he's super cool. As far as the set as a whole, I think it's definitely worth taking a look at, especially if you like the monster keyword. Literally everything in it that we've seen so far has the monster keyword, which makes sense. But what I think is also neat is it's supposed to be considered part of Modern, which it looks like they've kind of stopped the whole release, like a Halo set or a Yu-Gi-Oh set, and it just automatically goes into this other category that can't be used in competitive play. This apparently, according to hearsay, will be considered part of Modern, just like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff. It is not affiliated with a specific DC, Marvel, or other corporation. It is literally just almost like a HorrorClix style throwback. So independent, but super cool. And especially with Halloween coming up in the next few months, it'd be really cool for a store or even casual players doing some type of themed events, being like, oh, fight the zombie horde or skeleton horde, and I just like that type of play. I like thematic play. I think that's what the game really thrives with.
Yeah. And another thing I like too is you've got at least 2 generic commons, if not more. So like, okay, if Jimmy's going to buy a gravity feed, he'll probably get a bunch of commons, which is okay because there are a bunch of generic commons that will be really cool on the field. Like a bunch of skeletons just shambling along, a bunch of zombies. Like, you will never complain about pulling more zombies. Like, they're zombies. Alright, so next we're going to talk about the event we played in today. It was 600 points, Golden Age, nothing larger than a peanut base. Everything else is fair game.
So basically, it was to prevent colossal retaliation pieces and stuff like that from being part of the game?
And vehicles and like the Brainiac skull ship, stuff like that. We want to play with cool pieces. I don't want to fight against like a 600 point colossal.
And how our local venue does it is there's a league play event, which was what today was. You've got an event once a month for 4 months.
3 months.
3 months. And whoever wins most consistently, or you get points for attending, winning, placing, and whoever wins the most by the end, so has the most points, gets to choose what the next league month event is going to be. So for the next 3 months, the event will be this one. Mm-hmm. Our last winner was Vega, and he chose this event and specifically chose those rules. So that's what we're playing by until a new one is chosen, which I think we have 1 more week.
Yeah, and I'm hoping to win that because I got a pretty cool idea, I think. It'll encourage more theme team play, and I like theme teams because they're cool.
Yeah.
Which we both played a theme team today. I'll talk about my team first, and we'll talk about yours. That sound good? So my team was pretty simple. I had no idea what I was going to play. I didn't even know if I was going to be able to make it today, just because of the way I had a busy morning. So while we were going, I was talking about doing a mystical team or doing another Sinister Syndicate team. I was looking at Defenders because I just got the Valkyrie and Black Knight from Avengers Defenders War. But I decided to go ahead and play a Warrior theme team. It was originally supposed to be TMNT Villain with all the Shredders, but I do not have the Cyber Shredder yet. He's 125 points, which rounds all the chases and Shredder clone to exactly 600. So instead, I was looking at 475 points, so I added Coriander, the OP kit, Starfire, Coriander, and a Brainiac on her. So I had the Rare Shredder clone, then the 4 chases, Shark Shredder, Claw Shredder, Shiva Shredder, and Mini Shredder. Which I wasn't sure how well I would do today with it, just because at 600 points, like, I didn't know if they would hold their own against what we're going to see. But they did, and I will talk about the game that really surprised me the most with them, but first we'll hear about your team.
Okay, I was playing an Injustice League theme team. Originally I had put together a team of aquatic characters to specifically counter Vega's team, because he has won every week that he's been there because he has a water team.
Except for one, I did beat him 1 week.
Did he not win first?
I was playing Jakeem, so...
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, he had a theme team with like 11 characters, an animal theme team, so he gets to choose map choice, and he always chooses a water map, like an underwater Atlantis map, where literally the entire thing is water. Even in hindering terrain, it's all considered water. And he had Thor Frog with armor piercing, so his ripple effect just deals 1 damage every turn to every character within 6 spaces of Thor Frog. Doesn't matter if he has line of fire or anything. And then if he's in water, you can't draw a line of fire to him either. So it's really hard to kill him. He's got shape change, he's got impervious, you can't outwit him because you can't draw a line of fire, you have to be right next to him. He's got a 19 defense. And he's like 60 points, so it makes it real tough to take down that team, and if you're anywhere near him, you're just taking attrition damage. He has been winning consistently because of that. So yeah. I made a specific water team because I knew I'd be on that map when I fought him, and I wanted my characters to be as most suited to that environment as possible. So when I found out he was not going to be there, I had to quickly make a new one, and my wife Libby had recommended I play a villains team. So in that spirit, I made the Injustice League theme team at 600 points with 4 characters.
Which is completely different. Jimmy normally would play like 8 to 10 characters at
Yeah.
600 points.
I always play like a horde. I never really play anybody over 150 points generally. I was playing the Black Adam at 270 points. That is Black Adam number 58 from Trinity War.
And he is not worth it.
Yeah, 270 points. He definitely has not aged well. I don't even know if he was good at the time. On paper, I thought he'd be great. And then I fought the KC Shazam, who is 170 points, a good 100 clear of this guy. And he just blew him out of the water as far as same roll, hypersonic speed and super strength. But that Shazam is just way, way better for 100 less points. So as far as like a heavy hitter fight, he had more points to play with because he spent less, and then his Shazam was easily able to outdamage my Black Adam. So that game did not go well. So him as a heavy hitter, and then the other three characters are Black Manta, 125 points. He's actually from the Legion of Doom starter set that came out alongside the Legion of Superheroes main set. And yeah, he's 125 points, number 4 from that starter. Lex Luthor, also from that starter, number 1, he's 100 points. And then I've got the 100-point Giganta, also from that starter. So I was playing 3 starter characters and then just kind of threw in that Black Adam in there. Plus a 5-point feat double time on Black Mana so that he can move 16 spaces carrying someone. That did end up being super useful in my third game, but we'll talk about that as well.
Yeah. So to bounce back, Jimmy talked about it a little bit. There's a guy playing a future themed team with all Kingdom Come pieces. I did not expect to do anything against it because the whole thing with the Shredders is they deal penetrating damage for free. Invincible doesn't care about penetrating damage, and he had both Green Lantern and Shazam, who have top dial Invincible, and Green Lantern has a 20 defense. So I thought I was going to just get dominated. It didn't look good. However, Coriander ended up being my MVP for the whole day because I fought against another character with Invincible, which she would outsiders herself, hypersonic with the teleporter ability. She has 4 damage, so after Invincible she deals 2. She has an 11 attack. So like against Shazam I needed a 7, and I completely expected to miss. I didn't have prop control or anything. But I carried Shredder Clone to attack with me, so if I did hit, knock him off of Invincible, then Shredder Clone can sidestep up and start the train. So I actually did hit that 7. It was amazing. So I dealt the 2 damage after Invincible, knocked him down to Impervious, and then the Shredder Swarm came and just like knocked him to his last click. It was kind of ridiculous. He did pop, I think it was Claw Shredder, he popped Mystical Worms on turn 1 with that hypersonic alpha strike from Shazam, so that kind of hurt, but at the same time I didn't have any action tokens on him, so I was able to use him after he was placed. So either way I was able to get Shazam down to his last click. Then on his next turn he charged in with the Kingdom Come Aquaman, the new one from Elseworlds, thank you, and he charged Exploit and hit Coriander for 4. So she was knocked down. Oh, and when she hit Shazam, she took Mystics because he has a wild card, and the Mystics knocked her off of Willpower, so she ended up pushing. So she took 6 clicks of damage, like right off rip, turn 1, but it was worth it because I took Shazam, like I said, down to his last click. So then he attacked Shredder Clone with Green Lantern and missed with a 13 attack. I couldn't believe it. And his Spectre hit one of the Shredders. I guess Shiva Shredder probably. I took some damage, but he didn't really KO anyone. So on my next turn, I flurried with Shiva Shredder. Yeah, I flurried with Shiva Shredder. I took out the Shazam, which meant none of my Shredders had to break away, so they were all able to sidestep up to Aquaman. Knocked him super low. That let Shredder Clone flurry Blaze Claw's Fangs on him. I was able to KO him. And Mini Shredder was left, so he... Oh no, Mini Shredder took the damage from someone. Anyways, Mini Shredder was on like click 6, but he still had plasticity, so he ran up and based Spectre and Green Lantern. So they either would have had to split up or attack. They couldn't do both, and they each had 1 action token. So if they moved, they would have not attacked, then had to clear, and then by then I would have based them again. So he decided to stay and fight. They just didn't do enough, I guess, and I was able to surround him, ran Coriander away because she was on her last click at that point. And finally, Shark Shredder, I was able to perplex his attack back up to a 12 after he'd taken some damage. And he Blaze Claw's Fangs on Green Lantern. I hit the 8 that I needed, rolled a 4 on Blades, so 2 after Invincible, knocked him down to Impervious. He's only got 6 clicks. I don't need to hit him anymore because he's on Impervious. Sidestep up and ended up killing him and Spectre with the same, just moving people around and sidestepping. So it ended up going in my favor pretty hard, and I ended up taking full points. But it was really close, and if I would have missed that first attack with Coriander on Spectre, or on Shazam rather, I don't think I would have won because that Shazam is just too fast.
That Shazam has a 15 speed.
With hypersonic.
Yeah.
So it's pretty crazy. But I managed to do it, and because of it, I won the event, and I actually got the Spider-Man ID card, which is normally a limited edition prize, but our tournament organizer had a couple. So that
Thing's
was
worth
really
like
cool.
$50 online. That's
Yeah.
crazy. He gave out 3 of them.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Just banking some tournament support.
He was explaining he had been to an event when they were still like $1 a piece, and they were giving them away, so he like got a stack. So he's using them as prize support so that we can get them. So
Yeah.
I'm not complaining because that is pretty great. I really like it with Cosmic Spider-Man.
Yeah. I ended up going 2-1 in the event. The first game that I played, there were a lot of new players there, a lot of younger players who were still learning the game, and we had to kind of like walk them through the steps. The first guy was going against a kid named James, and he had 12 characters. They were all like 40 to 50 points. I think his highest point character was the 80-point Hulk from Avengers Defenders, the common one, and most of the characters that he was playing were from that. I think all of them had the Avengers keyword except for one, Elektra. But whenever I fought him, I ended up winning. He got 100 points because he killed Giganta. I ended up getting 190. The second game I fought the KC guy. So yeah, he had all those KC characters. Let me just note to begin with though, I love that Shazam character. I actually had him. I ended up selling him online whenever I got out of clicks the first time and then came back. But
That was when you got out of the clicks the second time.
well, like the millionth time, really.
Yeah, true.
Like, I've gotten in and out of this game since I was like 12. But that Shazam, his claim to fame is hypersonic speed with a 11 attack with super strength, 5 damage, and he can pick up, like an ultra heavy or something just to knock somebody out of the park. He's not going to be able to do that crap anymore because that super strength is not going to work with hypersonic speed. So
yeah, that makes him like, 15 speed, 5 damage, still really good, but
yeah, he's not going to be...
Your threshold now is gone because with TK you have a 23 space threat range, which is great, but you have to get up close. So if you
only need an alpha strike, and then you need to be able to get away.
And like let's say if I'm 5 spaces up from my starting zone. You need to move, 19, 17 if you're in the front of your starting zone. You have to move 17 spaces to be able to hit me, then you can back up 6. So now you're 6 spaces away. Versus Nick Fury with telekinesis, he gets TK'd up 8, he's 9 spaces away from me and hits me. It's a lot harder for me to get to Nick Fury than for me to get to Shazam, even though Nick Fury's threat range is smaller. It's a 17 versus a 23, but Nick Fury's a lot safer.
Yeah.
So,
but the thing is, you never saw this Shazam in competitive play anyway, so I don't want to compare him against the top bar.
I actually have seen him in 300 Modern tournaments. The RFC event I went to.
As a winner? I never see him on like a winning tournament list.
True.
But either way, he's going to be worse. So his role is going to have to change if people want to play him that way anyway, because before he's an alpha strike character. You're going to be throwing him all the way across the board with telekinesis with that super high speed to hit somebody. Now he's going to be more of like a conventional sit-back hypersonic, where you wait for somebody to get about mid-board, you place him behind a wall or in some type of protection, and then you run him out, hit him, use his high speed to get out of the threat range of the character that you hit. No longer going to be throwing him into the starting zone just because he can't alpha strike. You're going to need support to be able to get his damage through, like outwit or something, because he has no other way to get through things like impervious. So he's really going to take a big hit. He's never going to use super strength ever again after this because his main goal is going to be to hit and run.
Yeah.
So that's
he
just
can like run around carrying an object, and if you base him, if the situation is perfect, then maybe
he would just hit, and then he would just sit there. Like that would be the worst tactical decision ever.
It's got to be like the perfect circumstance for him to want to do it.
Yeah, and you're just going to be carrying that dumpster on your shoulder, just waiting for the day to happen.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that this atrocious change to object play is going to be amended after the new rules come out, and they see that it's just a garbage play. That they're going to change the whole object attack being a close combat action on its own, which you can't use with hypersonic. There's no good reason for that to be the case, because you're never going to see object play ever again if that's the case. Because you can't use it with exploit weakness, flurry, you can only use it with charge. It's garbage.
So like, in certain circumstances now, you might want to, like if you have a full speed charge super strength character, but like those are few and far between, and normally if your character is a charger, like I don't know, normally they have other things they'd rather use. I'd rather use charge exploit than charge super strength because it gets around impervious.
Yeah.
Like the only time I'd rather use super strength and charge together is if I'm going at someone with super senses, but I'd rather have precision strike instead of super strength in that situation.
There are a lot of characters though that is their only way to do damage. Like a lot of up front attackers. Bizarro, the chase from the Superman Wonder Woman set, 150 points. Mm-hmm. He's just got hypersonic and super strength.
Oh, handstand Spidey is literally just neutered now. Like that was his whole thing, and now he's just garbage.
There are a lot of characters like that. It's a shame.
Every Superman Forever, Miss Marvel. We've talked about it. We've beaten this dead horse, but it's just it's so bad.
Yeah, I appreciate that NECA is finally revisiting the rules, but I think that this kind of further shows they're very careless.
It's obvious they don't play the game.
Either way, that wasn't the point of the conversation. I was using my 4 characters versus this KC team, and I just got destroyed, of course, because I walked forward halfway across the field. I didn't have any way to actually like get all up in his grill very early, other than Black Manta's double time, which he was able to use to get to very close to his starting zone, but not quite. He was in position to be able to use running shot after that. But again, Casey has a bunch of ways to stop ranged, like the KC team ability itself, that basically gives you super senses whenever you're attacked by a ranged combat attack.
But it's not super senses. So Spectre has actually a clip where he has shape change, super senses, and the Kingdom Come team ability.
So 3 rolls. The odds of actually hitting him are pretty null.
And he's got a 19 defense.
You better have some freaking precision strike and
you need precision strike, battle fury, get
and
up
make
close
a close
to
combat attack,
and prob control, because you're 11 attack on their 19 defense. You need an 8.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
And
you did not have those, and your team was kind of heavily reliant on the outwit you were packing.
And I couldn't use it
because Kingdom Come, their alternate team ability, that's not an alternate team ability. Guess what? They can't be outwitted or perplexed or modified at all by anyone that does not have the Kingdom Come team ability.
And the only person that I had with utility piece in his best form is Lex Luthor. He's got white power on his damage that gives him leadership, and he has Mastermind. He can use both those powers as though he has 200 points, and then he's got Outwit and Perplex. Also has Calculator, so he can take Black Adam's Mystics. So he is super supporty, but he threw his Shazam at me, and then just Alpha Strike, right in the face for like 8 damage. He's got like 6 or 7 clicks. And I didn't want to Mastermind it off because I couldn't use Outwit anyway. I figured it was better to lose him rather than like a Giganta who was next to him who I could have Masterminded to at the time. And then he had enough speed then to run all the way back to his starting zone, and I was in the middle of the field at that point, just trudging across trying to survive the onslaught. So I was automatically 100 points down in the hole there. This is the reason I like to use lots of low point figures, because Alpha Strike don't do crap. Because you can throw somebody out and you're like, oh wow, you have 12 60-point characters to choose from. Like, do your worst. You're going to hit one of these guys, you're going to get through his 5 clicks with your 8 damage, and you're going to have to... Basically, I have so many attacks and so many turns because you have to one at a time just punch him in the noggin.
Yeah,
so
death by 1,000 cuts. And I think that's how my Shredder team worked. Like, it wasn't super horde, but I had 6 figures to his 4, and with the Mystical Worms, like, he's got to hit me, that would KO me, then it puts me to click 4 instead. So he's at minimum 2 attacks per character to get them off the map. So he just couldn't overpower it fast enough.
And this Black Adam was my biggest hitter. 270 points. Again, he only has a 10 speed, starting with hypersonic. And he was immediately hit for 2 damage after his invulnerability, his invincibility. And then he went down to a 10 attack with no movement attack power, sitting in a bush. So he starts with 12, goes down to 11, and then 10 by the 3rd click, and then it kind of panders back and forth between a 9 and a 10 attack at 270 points. So I had characters that I was fighting that at their lowest point had 18 defense. Green Lantern had 20. I had no hope in this game in its entirety to ever hit them because, I don't know, I was just lame. But he just got roasted because he couldn't even take Shazam on his own, and that's 270 points, almost half my team gone. Black Manta was really holding his own. He was over there in the back fighting 3 people at the same time. He was single-handedly fighting Aquaman, Green Lantern, and Spectre. And he was just a boss. He almost took out Aquaman on his own.
Which was super thematic. I thought that was cool.
Aquaman just couldn't land a hit on Black Manta, and he was just like, blah, spitting in his face. And then his last dying breath, he was actually killed by Aquaman, which I appreciated for theme.
Aquaman finally kicked him down and then just trident to the face. But it only KO'd him, it doesn't kill him, because it's heroclix. We don't kill, we KO.
We KO. I got his Shazam down to like 2nd to last click, and also the Aquaman to 2nd to last click. I made attacks on them that I missed. If I would have hit them, I would have won the game because those 2 guys would have been killed easily. I made like 2 or 3 attacks on Shazam when he was almost dead and missed all of them. And then, like for some of them I needed like 6s, and then the other Black Manta Aquaman fight, I missed an attack with Blade's Claw's Fangs that would have killed him.
Yeah.
So I could have won that game if the dice had come through, which would have really been surprising because it was Black Manta just wailing it out. It was pretty awesome. But yeah.
But.
So 3rd game, I was fighting against, basically the team was Thor. It was a 400-point Thor. I don't even know what set it's from.
He has the Avengers Initiative, so he sees through hindering terrain. He has a 5 damage top dial with a 12 attack and 19 defense with Impervious. And his special white powers, he picks a square, deals his damage to a character in that square.
Which is 5.
If he hits the attack, and then his damage -1 to all characters in adjacent squares.
Which is 4. His first game, he dealt 17 damage in 1 hit with that because the person clustered. Bad idea.
Game 2, I used my sidestep. So I had 3 characters, I could carry the other 3. So I carried them all up, and then I just sidestepped to scramble, but to where I could sidestep back to my taxis next turn. So he was not able to use that against me. However, I can't remember, I think most of my pieces were 2 spaces away from each other, but if there were any that was 1 space apart, he could have picked the square in the middle and hit anyone adjacent for 4 damage.
Yeah, I don't think that he had enough practice with that character to realize, but you didn't have to target a specific character, even if he, like he was saying, clustered out to be just 2 spaces away from each other. If he targeted a space in the middle, again, he would deal like 12 damage just hitting 3 of them, and would have just wiped out a team. And a lot of people don't think of that, where it's like, oh, I don't even have to attack a space with a character in it. You'd give up the 5 damage, of course, but you would deal way more hitting all the other characters for 4 each. Thor, though, can be outwitted, and that was his Achilles heel. So it was Thor. He had Captain America, the low point character, Wasp, Doctor Strange,
Earth
Guardian of Earth, and then
I love that piece. That piece is super cool.
30-point Black Panther he just has stealth and outwit.
Yeah.
So what I did was I started the game by knowing that I needed to stop that lightning bolt of death so that I could cross the field, because his play was to just sit in the starting zone. He had the first play of the game. He sidestepped some of his characters if they had it forward, carrying, and then he just kept Thor back there, knowing that I was going to have to trudge across this minefield as lightning bolts came down and destroyed me. Fortunately, I had Black Manta with double time, who's able to move 16 spaces. He can also start the game if there is water. Within 8 spaces, he could start in that water anywhere.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so he gets a head start.
Yeah, that's really good.
So what I did was I put him in water because we were playing on the Wakandan Garden map. It has like channels of water and then a bunch of bushes, and the bushes have a special rule. Instead of modifying your defense by 1 if you draw a line of fire through it, it modifies it by +2. So I had characters with like 17 defense, now a 19 as long as I was standing in it.
Yeah, that's actually a really good map for your team.
Yeah, so what I was able to do is start Black Manta. up 8 spaces in, just outside of the initial threat range of that Thor. And then I teleported Lex Luthor to right next to him, and then just taxied him all the way across the board, based his entire team with Lex Luthor, put Black Manta next to him to be mastermind fodder, because it was the only way I was going to survive. And Lex Luthor outwitted the lightning power, while Giganta carried Black Adam like halfway across the board, so that he would not have an action token, and he'd be prepared to get into the fight the second turn with Hypersonic. But I had to make sure that he wasn't going to lightning strike them in the back and just destroy my Alpha Strike. Black Adam, who was just waiting there.
I would call it a beta strike at this point.
My beta strike, because it wasn't good enough. It wasn't an alpha.
Yeah.
But I based him, and my Lex Luthor has stealth as well, so they couldn't just shoot at him. And he just laid the hammer down on Lex. All the while, my freaking Black Manta was just taking it like a champ. And he ends up having 1 click left. And then he outwits my willpower, which is given by Indomitable. Can you do that? He outwitted Indomitable. I know that the ruling now on Flight is Flight lets you... basically, this character possesses the carry ability and possesses the flight ability. That's what the wing symbol does. You can outwit individually the carry ability or the flight ability. You can't outwit the symbol itself. Indomitable says this character may use willpower. That's why you can choose not to use it.
Right.
And you can't outwit the symbol, you can outwit the things that it grants, and since it says can use instead of possesses, I don't think you can outwit willpower. But he did, and I didn't feel like arguing.
It'll change in 2 weeks anyway, so it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But if you do know the answer to that, feel free to leave it in the comments.
It did end up mattering, though, because Black Manta pushed himself to death in the next turn, so that my Lex Luthor could use Pulse Wave, 9 attack on 19 defenses all around, and hit it. It was awesome, but I actually pushed Black Manta to kill him because I knew that he would be dead anyway, because I was pulse waving right next to him.
But even if the Indomitable wouldn't have been outwitted, you would have chosen not to use it. So
yeah, and then he would have died anyway.
Yeah.
So did that, but the main attraction here is I was able to outwit Impervious on that Thor using my still top click Lex Luthor, and perplexed his defense from a 19 to an 18, and then ran all the way across the field with Black Adam, picking up a heavy object on the way, and dealt 7 damage directly, rolling a 6 on the dice. And yeah, it was pretty awesome.
And that Thor has 10 clicks, so that's pretty good.
He was still useful by the time he was hit. He had no movement power, he had close combat expert.
Okay.
And then he had invulnerability with 16 defense. So after that, he hit me, took damage from Mystics, and then the turn after that, I killed him with my first of 2 flurry attacks, and the second one I wasn't able to do because he was dead. But after that, I slowly wiped up the rest of his team because Doctor Strange and that Captain America he was using have very high defenses at the end of their dial. They each have an 18 defense with close combat reflexes, sitting in bushes. So they had a 20 whether I shot them or punched them. So I had to like outwit each, run at them with Black Adam with a 10 attack, hope I was going to hit, and I hit both of them first try.
Well, one thing, too, I really enjoyed, Jimmy at one point had pulse waved everyone with Lex Luthor, so he dealt 1 damage to everyone, and then he moved Giganta into like the same spot, and she's got Giant Reach and Quake, so then she quaked and hit everyone again for 2 more damage.
And just threw them everywhere.
And knocked out Wasp because of it, threw Doctor Strange back. Captain America had charged combat reflexes, so he didn't get knocked back. But it was just really satisfying to watch this area of effect damage just consistently going off. It was a cool aspect of his team that I really liked.
And this Giganta is just awesome. So she's 100 points, but as a giant like attacker, she is awesome. Yeah. She's got sidestep and charge and flurry as a white power on her first few clicks, and then the part where we were there is an attack power where if you move less than 3, and she automatically breaks away from other characters as well as part of improved movement, she gets to use Quake as a free action if she moves less than 3 spaces. So that's what she was able to do about halfway through the dial. She also gets outwit near the end, so like
random but useful.
Yeah, and she goes down to a 9 attack, so like in this age of defenses, she's not great at hitting, but at that 9 attack, I was hitting people with like 18 defense. I rolled a 10 on that roll just by sheer luck, and that's what ended up getting everything roll that direction. Also, wanted to let you guys know as far as what we're going to be doing with the channel a little bit more in heroclix. We're seeing that there's interest in the podcast and also in just heroclix discussion in general with our Felty with a Chance of meta series as well, focusing on specific heroclix pieces. We're going to start doing gameplay videos as well. So we're hoping to start a Meta Monday series where we're playing characters that are more seen in competitive play and try to show how those characters work, other potential options at breaking those meta teams if we can discover them. And then on Thursdays, we're going to do a Theme Team Thursdays, which is more casual playing theme teams that we like to play.
Yeah,
and,
which you'll still see like good pieces. Like I might do a Defenders team with the Valkyrie, Black Knight, Doctor Strange or something. So you'll still see good pieces. They're fun to watch, but you're not going to just watch Jakeem every day.
Yeah, we'll try to keep it fresh every time too. So like Meta Monday isn't going to be just Jakeem teams repeatedly. It's going to be things that
like we had talked about in the previous competitive podcast. I'll probably play a Dreadpool team at some point. The Dr. Octopus team. I'm sure you'll see Jimmy. I want to see that Swarm team that you kind of were cooking up. Yeah. Token spam is always fun. Devil Dinosaur, he'll make an appearance. And what we can do for our Theme Team Thursdays is if you guys want to make suggestions for teams, if we have the pieces, we'll play the team.
Yeah, like if you want to put a keyword or something in a comment in the video, even in this video or on the next Theme Team video.
Or if you found us on the Realms, comment on that thread. That's what it's there for.
Yeah, we can go ahead and try to look specifically at those keywords, see what we think would work best at different point values. Our favorite point values to play at are 400 to 600, as far as mine.
Yeah, for Meta Monday, expect to see a lot of 300 Modern just because that is what you'll see at your ROC event. You'll see that at the sanctioned WizKids events. If it's not a draft, they'd like to do a lot of sealed, obviously. So that'll be Meta Monday. We'll probably have a lot of 300, some 400, because I know ROC, they do have a 400 point, I think it's the Silver Age 400 point limited, so we might play some of that. But yeah, for Theme Team Thursdays, definitely expect to see, I really like 400 points. 600 points, to me, I feel like it can get a little messy, just because you can have like that 400 point Thor, and I might just not be prepared for it. So it can tilt one way or another pretty quick. I feel 400, in my opinion, 400 points is the most balanced that you can play a game of heroclix.
And we'll also stick to Golden Age in that format so that we have more access to keywords that may not have been given a lot of attention in recent sets, like Seven Soldiers.
Or Eternal.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Even though Eternals, it looks like we'll have to play a really high point game because those guys are 150 points, and then you got heavy hitters like Thanos for like 300. So we'd have to play like 1,000 point game for Eternals keyword to be worth it.
Every single Sinister Syndicate piece that I have.
1,000 point swarm of Sinister Syndicate characters.
One thing we could do too is we had talked about doing a heroclix campaign type of thing. You remember that?
Yeah.
So we could do that. With Spider-Man family versus Sinister Syndicate. We could do Gotham City villains against Batman family. We've got options. We got a lot of pieces. I like a lot of Marvel stuff. Jimmy likes a lot of DC stuff. So you will see a lot of Marvel versus DC on Theme Team Thursday. And my favorite keywords are Sinister Syndicate for named keyword, and then Mystical for not named. My
favorite ones are Monster, Justice League International. I used to run a lot on Teen Titans, and then I like things that focus on villains as well, because I really like villain teams like Injustice League or Monster Society or anything like that. We're trying to do a little bit different with lighting here. I know it's brighter than we have been doing. We've been using a lot of like artificial light in this room because we've been doing podcasts at night most of the time. This time we're trying to do it at about the middle of the day, and we got a window open right over here because this lighting in this room is just horrible, and you probably noticed the video quality has suffered a lot because of that, even with the new camera. So we're trying to work out something to make that work. Maybe get some LED light strips or something in here to give it more of like a white light look. Yeah. So, but we're doing what we can, and we'll have to figure out maps too, because if we use like the paper mats, if we have light directly on it, you'll get a glare.
So it'll be a little bit of a process getting everything just right. So bear with us. Feel free to give us suggestions. Obviously, the content is for you guys watching it, so we want it to be enjoyable. So we're definitely open to hearing whatever it is you have to say.
But thank you very much for watching yet another episode of NetCLIX and Chill. If you made it to this portion of the episode, thank you very much.
Yep, and if you didn't, I kind of hate you, but you don't know that.
All right. Well, thank you very much, and have a great day.
Yeah.